Design by contract is one of the simplest and most effective design tactics. It makes your code more expressive and helps reduce bugs. And yet, it is totally underrated and far too rarely used today. Here's how it works and why you cannot afford to skip it. Design by contract was invented more than 3 decades ago in the context of the Eiffel programming language. The core idea is simple. Make assumptions and expectations explicit in the code and fail immediately when they are not met. Some modern higher-level languages, such as Scala and Kotlin, value this tactic so much that they have it built in. But most other popular languages have not adapted it to that extent. They mainly focus on one aspect: avoiding the billion-dollar mistake by preventing null references. Functional programming languages like F# and even modern low-level languages like Rust try to ban null references completely, while others like C# at least offer compiler checks. But this limited adoption only hurts the popularity of design by contract. It doesn't prevent you from using it to its full extent in your projects. Because at the end of the day, it is a design tactic. You can apply it to any language. Applying design by contract starts by thinking about the expectations that functions, and especially constructors, have towards their parameters. Reflecting expectations is key here. Once they are clear, make them explicit in the code by adding preconditions. There are libraries that provide convenience, but I do not like to have such libraries spread across my entire codebase. Do you remember when the popular open source library Fluent Assertions suddenly became paid software for commercial use? Imagine having hundreds or even thousands of usages of such a library across your codebase when something like that happens. Instead, I suggest creating a small class called contract that provides only the convenience APIs you really need. And don't overdo it. Keep it simple. Because this class is so small, I often avoid introducing a dependency across components just for this. Instead, I simply copy the code. Yes, this technically violates the dry principle, but in this case, I think that's acceptable. In fact, this small utility is not just about convenience. It also makes the code more expressive because the word contract makes the intention immediately clear. Once you get used to expressing preconditions explicitly, go one step further and think about invariants, states that you expect to always be true. Even more important are assumptions. For example, you may believe, based on documentation or past experience, that an API always returns valid values. But how can you be sure this stays true forever? Turn those assumptions into expectations by adding invariants. This gives you clear feedback as soon as your expectation no longer holds. Finally, design by contract also suggests formulating postconditions. Honestly, I rarely use them, and I have almost never seen them in a real codebase. But they can be useful to ensure that functions return only valid values and to document the expected range for future readers. By now it should be clear that this design tactic is simple. But why do I believe it is so effective that every project should use it? Reason number 1, it reduces complexity. Design by contract makes code more expressive by making the author's expectations and assumptions explicit. This reduces cognitive load to the reader. Readers do not have to dig into implementation details to figure out which expectations are safe to rely on and keep them in mind while reading the code. It is all there in the code. That reduces the overall complexity of the project. Reason number 2, it reduces bugs. Because readers no longer have to make assumptions, which could be wrong, future changes are less likely to introduce unexpected side effects. And even when not all bugs can be prevented, design by contract makes finding bugs much easier. It ensures that software fails fast as soon as an expectation is violated, not dozens of method calls later. Do you know what a perfect complement to design by contract is? It is the pattern I explain in this video.